JJ, I guess that's what you were getting at with the kind of 1% of all shooters comment. Where was it? Just the first time in the gym? You being one yourself, that you kind of noticed that, and how did that play out in today's, and not just today, really, the last week he's been like 60, 70%.
Yeah, you watch a guy in shooting drills, you watch a guy in small group games, you watch a guy in pickup for a few weeks. It's obvious that he's a shot maker, and he was phenomenal tonight. I thought, they tried to run that zone and kind of shot them out of it, but that was all D'Lo. Like we had talked, during the free throw, hey, just get to this, and DK is going to be open. D'Lo hit him 2 or 3 times in a row. Bron checked in the game. D'Lo sets the flare screen for him for that. I think that 4th or the 5th one in that run. I don't know what his stats are offensively, but D'Lo was great tonight. Like orchestrating defensively, his activity. The guy had a low man block shot against John Collins. Like that stuff does not go overlooked. He was great tonight. But we're happy for Dalton. It was as a shooter, it's fun to watch a guy who can get hot like that.
Kind of two on him, JJ. A lot of those came off of actions that looked fairly drawn up. As you're drawing up plays to get him into spots, like how fun is that for you? Do you ever think, are these actions you ran, or these things that as a shooter, do you kind of go into that space?
Some of them are. Not I didn't have a lot of these modern concepts, unfortunately. I had to get it out of the mud. We're cognizant of for AD and LeBron primarily with drawing up ATOs, and Dalton as a rookie gets what's left when he's in the game, and we feel like we have a good flow. Like there's opportunities. He missed a couple, I think, out of ATOs, but we executed perfectly. It was a play, I think it was the one where he got fouled on right after he got hot, and it was coming out of off a make, and we just I called the play, and we got right to it, and that was with Christian. So that's a big deal for Christian, just to recognize D'Lo and DK, all of them just executing it, getting a good look, and obviously they fouled him on the elbow. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I have to be cognizant sometimes when I get really excited when I see an ATO or I have an idea to not have them all drawn up for Dalton. Like that's just it's reality. I want them all for me.
And you've mentioned now in talking about his game, you mentioned D'Lo, you mentioned Koloko. It seemed like it was kind of communal in the way that guys were screening harder, moving the ball faster, looking for him. How exciting was that for you to see as you kind of look?
Yeah, just
big picture for your team.
Right, recognizing the hot hand, which is a real thing, but recognizing the hot hand and then executing just shows a level of unselfishness. It also shows a level of basketball IQ, and I thought our guys were great with that with Dalton. But in terms of the communal thing, it wasn't just that. Like we challenged the guys before the game in terms of our physicality on the defensive end. Even though they had, I think it was 9 offensive rebounds in the first half, I thought there was a real effort to box out and be physical. Some of those were just like Drew Eubanks tipping the ball out on a box out versus a smaller defender or a long rebound. But our physicality on the defensive end in the first half was about as good as we've had all year. Max Christie had a couple insane whites, our fronts on John Collins. Gabe was great. So really we got a lot from a lot of people that didn't necessarily show up in the box score.
You might be so laser focused on the X's and O's that you don't pick up on this, but there was a palpable energy in the arena when he was starting to go off and late.
Yeah, I heard it.
What can it do for a guy who is still a rookie playing significant minutes for a team that has aspirations of playing significant basketball games to kind of meet the moment, even if it's the regular season?
I'm not concerned at all with Dalton in terms of meeting the moment. He's fearless. And in terms of what that does for the energy of the group and the energy in the arena. I think not just tonight, but whether it was the Memphis game or the start of the fourth when we beat Sacramento here, like his shot making gets us going. It's a real weapon for our group beyond just to score. It's a weapon that energizes us.
JJ, with the past week that he's had, obviously you guys were very high on him and his shooting potential, but is he almost ahead of schedule? And if he continues this rate of shooting, it might not be sustainable, it might be, but does that change his place in the pecking order offensively?
I don't know. It doesn't change his place in the pecking order at all. I think what you have to look at is he's from where he was to start the season. He's earned more minutes, and our guys, what I think has stood out to me over the last week or so is similar to how Golden State has always known where Steph is on the court, or they've always known where Klay Thompson is, or for me when I was playing with like DJ and he would get an offensive rebound, he always knew where I was. Blake knew where I was. Our guys have a real understanding. There was a play in New Orleans where Austin cut and he got the ball underneath the basket, and I mean immediately just like turned and fired along the baseline without even looking, and Dalton hit a three. So like that's important versus like, oh, we got to run this amount. It's not. We're not going to run more plays for Dalton. It's really just having his spacing, his threat. He's got some off the bounce stuff he can do, but I mentioned before the game, he's an excellent cutter. He's been great with his offensive rebound crashing. So it's more about him just earning more minutes and more trust, not just with the coaches, but with his teammates. That's important.
JJ, when you mentioned the hot hand, you made sure to clarify that the hot hand is a real thing. I think you're the only one in this room who can say that they had a hot hand on the NBA floor. Can you just describe that to us? Not to speak for Dalton, but what is that feeling like when you know that you have it going in that way?
It's the flow state. You're not thinking. You're just perfectly in balance with the curvature of the earth and the earth spinning on its axis 1,000 miles an hour. You've let go. You've let go, and the ball just feels weightless, and it feels like everything is going to go in. And even it's fun when you're in that state because you can miss a shot, and it doesn't weigh on you at all. You're just ready for the next one. It's really, I wish I could have gotten into that state more. Steph, I've always said this, like Steph is the guy. Like he's able to get to the flow state quicker and faster and more consistently than any athlete I've ever seen.
Hey, JJ, a guy who you wanted to drop every ATO for, who you said the guys have an awareness for, similar to a young Steph. What kind of player do you think Dalton could grow into in this league?
I'm not gonna speculate on that. I think he is a guy that with incremental growth can become a great player in the NBA. I'll just say, like, incremental growth to me, him just being a little better defensively with his slides and being a little more physical, potentially being a really good switchable defender down the road. He's got, I talked about the feel earlier. He's just got a great feel offensively. It's all the other stuff that, when he's doing all the other stuff, it's like, yeah, I don't want to take you off the court. He's such a weapon for us offensively.
Thanks, Coach.